Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Korlick from Figured Out Productions. The following video is a video of some kind, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, it's Adam here, and welcome to Playload. This is all my video game pickups for the month of October 2018, and it's a pretty cool month. Got some good stuff here. We got a bunch of packages we're going to talk about towards the end, also some stuff I got on my own, but most of my stuff actually comes from the Portland Retro Game Expo, which we'll be talking a little bit about in a minute. But first, let's get some of the stuff out of the way that I know you guys have already seen, so we won't take too much time on it. First, I got 3 brand new Dreamcast games. I got The Escapee, I got Bang Bang Busters, and I also got Another World Out of This World HD. Each one of these has their own video. In fact, The Escapee and Bang Bang Busters, their video is already out, so you can go watch them for more information. And Another World's video is right around the corner. You're gonna see it soon. So, yeah, or if you're already on Patreon, you might already have access to it, depending on when you watch this. But yeah, so there's, all I'm gonna say about these is new Dreamcast games. They come out from a guy named Josh Prod. Very cool that he's still supporting the Dreamcast. I support it, I hope you guys do too. But moving on, and if you want more information, again, watch the videos. But for real, moving on to some other pickups, stuff you guys haven't seen so far. The first thing I got, at least on this list here, I got Skylanders Imaginators for the Wii U. All right, okay, I don't really care about Skylanders, as I'm sure a lot of you know, but I do want a full Wii U set, and this has been one I needed for, well, obviously since it came out, but Skylanders, man, like, it's never was my game, never gonna be my game. I just wanted it for the set, but I was never gonna pay its full retail price. Best Buy has finally put the Wii U version on clearance. My Gamers Club Unlocked, RIP. It's still functional for this at this point in time, so I was able to combine those and get this for pretty cheap. So happy with that. It's done. It's off the list. Meaning that I only have a few more Wii U games to go, including, I know Just Dance 2019 just came out. I need that one for sure, and then there's a couple of older ones that I still need. But then, yeah, the Wii U's kind of done. So at least I'm happy to get that much closer to a full set of something. So that's awesome. Next up, these are special to me, of course, as a big, I don't know if you guys know this, I don't know if I've ever mentioned it before, but I really like this game. It's called, what was it called? Shenmue, that's right, yeah, Shenmue. I really like Shenmue. So I have been going after a bunch of the variants for that game, for the re-release, and I got a couple more off the list. From Australia, I got for Xbox One, as well as the PS4 version. What is it, how is it different? It's really not. It's, of course, a region-free disc, has all the same content. The only difference is, of course, like the rating systems and stuff like that. Variants aren't as unique as they used to be in most cases. But for me, just as a Shenmue like super fan, it was just awesome to pick up another variant. The other one I got, actually, this one's a little bit more special in my opinion. This is the Hong Kong version of Shenmue 1 and 2's re-release. Again, what it comes down to in this case is just like a different rating system. Although in this case, it also instead of saying Shenmue in Japanese at the top, I believe that's in Cantonese or Mandarin. I'm not sure which specific language, but yeah, well, the back is as well is also in the same language. Again, I'm not sure if it's Mandarin or Cantonese. I apologize for that, but yeah, just cool to have another Shenmue 1 and 2 variant. I think that's awesome. So yeah, but I picked those up myself. I just got them from PlayAsia. I just ordered them from there. But after that, almost all my pickups, well, pretty much everything else on this table other than the packages, came from the Portland Retro Game Expo 2018. Here's my badge. I was not a traditional guest of this. However, I was brought out there by other means, so thank you to the parties involved in that. But yeah, this was a convention I've been wanting to go to for a long time. PRGE is all my friends who have been there, are like in the Metal Jesus crew and Pat the NES Punk and all these other people that are in like the YouTube community that I know, have always told me like you gotta find your way out there. So I had that opportunity and I took it, and it's a really cool show, man. It's easily the biggest like set of like dealer tables and stuff I've ever seen. Saw a lot of really cool rare shit. For example, right here, you're looking at a sports game. It may not seem like a big deal. That's NBA Elite 11. That is the rarest PS3 game ever. The story with that game is that it was never released. EA recalled it right before the intended release, and only a couple of copies leaked out, supposedly by either a Best Buy or a GameStop that kind of broke the street date. That's how the story goes, and it's believed there's anywhere between 11 to 70 copies in existence. This dude at the show actually had one sealed, which could potentially be the only sealed one left on the planet. And he was asking 15 grand for it. Will he get it? I doubt it. He didn't at the show, but it was just a cool thing to see. And of course, my buddy Terry, who has the Nintendo PlayStation prototype, was there. I've seen that thing a few times. Terry's an awesome dude. And you just see a whole bunch of just cool stuff, and you also get the opportunity to get good deals on things. So yeah, overall, man, it was really awesome. And also a lot of people came out and said hi, were hanging out with me, chatting me up, you know, people who watch the channel, and I really do appreciate that. So very awesome. So I did get pickups there. One of the things I got, in addition, I got this shirt that you can see here. Eon gave this to me. They're the guys that make the GCHD. They were there and they gave me a free shirt. Also, the National Video Game Museum in Texas, in Houston, Texas, they gave me a shirt as well. Very cool shirt. I do wish the design of this shirt was on the back of the shirt though, or is on the front, not the back. This is the back you're seeing. I wish it was on the front. The front is more vanilla. It's just a little bit of text, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. I kind of prefer to be able to, you know, see people's reaction to the design as opposed to, like, you know, my back being what they see. I don't know, it's personal preference. Not complaining, free shirt, but still, that's just my preference. But yeah, I had a really great time over there. But anyway, so let's talk about the stuff we picked up. Right before the convention though, I ran into my buddy Kyle. And Kyle, you guys know from previous videos, especially the previous playload. I mean, this is the dude who hooked me up with a new TV. I met up with him, and he actually hooked me up with a GameCube game. This is Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. This is one of my games where, I'm sure anybody out there who buys a lot of video games, you know what I'm talking about, but this was one of those games that irritated the hell out of me because I wanted it, but every time I saw it, it either was too expensive, it was the wrong version, like it had, you know, the ugly yellow platinum or player's choice thing on it. It was missing the disc, or it was missing the manual, or something like that. Just a bad combination. You never got the right one. I'd tried getting it for years at different conventions and things like that, or different stores, but never got the right combo. In this case, I was in a store, saw it, and it had everything except that it was too expensive. I didn't want to pay as much. I think the seller wanted $20. And I told that story to Kyle, and he was like, oh, well, fuck it, I'll just buy it for you. And I was like, no, dude, you don't have to do that. And he was like, nah, 20 bucks, I don't give a shit. And he bought it. So thank you, Kyle, for doing that. That was very nice of you, but you really didn't have to do that. But yeah, so I got it. The reason I wanted it, actually, is because it's one of my goals for the GameCube anyway. I don't want a full set. I want every game, at least, you know, pie in the sky fantasy type of way. I want every game for the GameCube that never came out on the original Xbox, which once you give it that qualifier, it becomes way more doable because there's a whole fuck ton of games you don't have to buy then. So this was one of the higher ups on that list as far as like desirability, not necessarily value, but desirability. So yeah, I'm happy to get that one off the list. So thank you, Kyle, very much for doing that. And then at the actual convention itself, I got a whole bunch of different stuff. This was a game I had known about for a long time, and I had always intended to pick it up if I could find it, but I never could. This is a European PS2 exclusive. This is Masters of the Universe He-Man, the Defender of Grayskull, which was never really a show that I enjoyed or knew much about because it predated me. Like, this show was over before I was born, and I never really saw any of it retroactively, but I still just kind of wanted it because it was He-Man. You know, it's a big franchise, and I thought it would be cool. But it came out on the PS2 in Europe only in that era where Midas, which is the company that made it, as well as like Phoenix and Blast and all these other companies that only got to make European PS2 games, were all just kind of shoving out these licensed games over and over again that were so bad they didn't meet quality standards, but in Europe that was acceptable for issues that Sony ran into. It's a whole long story. Anyway, so I know this game is not considered great, although I believe of all of those, it's considered one of the better ones. And so I always kind of wanted to pick it up, but I never have seen it in Europe anywhere. And it's not a common one. It's not even a cheap one either. But I found it by, you know, of all people, John Riggs, like YouTuber, my buddy John Riggs actually was selling this. He only wanted 20 bucks for it. So yeah, that was a deal. So he hooked me up with it. And yeah, thank you very much to John for doing that. I also got a big stack of original Xbox. I've been focusing, that console I actually do want a complete set of. Lately I've been focusing on the European exclusives for it because there's only a couple left that I need, and then North America I still need a whole bunch of them. But I figured I'm at this convention and I should pick some of this stuff up. I should have also mentioned this earlier. I didn't bring a suitcase. My self-control method is to really just give myself a backpack and say that's what you're limited to, because then hopefully you won't do anything too stupid. But yeah, in this case, I wish I had brought more because there was a whole lot of people selling original Xbox games in bargain bins. Buy one, get one free, $1 bins, 5 for 10, just a whole bunch of, people just want to get rid of that shit. So I bought a bunch, but clearly I could have gotten more. So here's the ones I did end up with though. Rogue Ops, NBA Inside Drive 2002. This is back when Microsoft was actually making their own line of sports games. NASCAR Thunder 2002. Mojo. Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. This is a pretty cool hidden gem on the original Xbox. I believe it also had a PS2 version as well. Might have even had GameCube, but I do know that this was a hidden gem from that generation. Ford versus Chevy. Eggmania Eggstream Madness. Crash Bandicoot: The Wrath of Cortex. Burnout 2 Point of Impact Developer's Cut. Batman Rise of Sin Tzu, which I believe is based on Batman the Animated Series, and All-Star Baseball 2003. I think, although I'm not sure, I think this is one of the few games on the original Xbox that actually supports 1080i natively, although I'm not 100%, so I just vague memory of that being correct. But yeah, so got a nice big stack of original Xbox games here to check off of the list. Still got a long way to go on that, and again, I wish I had picked up more there, but I didn't have a space for it. Otherwise, I totally would have, because they were cheap, and yeah, that was a bit of a mistake on my end. But hey, whatever, maybe next year. Other cool thing about Portland is that it's in Oregon, and Oregon has no sales tax, so you're not paying sales tax on anything over there, so stuff's even cheaper, which is nice. But anyway, speaking of the original Xbox, the other thing I got here, this was given to me by Castlemania Games. This is the Panorama by Hyperkin. What this actually is an HDMI cable for the original Xbox. Very similar to the Pound cable I already did a video on. In fact, in that video, I specifically mentioned this thing as being around the corner, as it was just about to come out. Well, it's out now, and I have every intention of doing a video on this, giving you guys the review. So just sit tight, that'll be coming at some point. But yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this out and seeing how it fares compared to the Pound cable, if it's better, if it's worse, if it's exactly the same, who knows, but still, it's coming, and thank you very much to Castlemania Games for hooking me up. A couple other random items. Do you guys remember, maybe like 2 months ago, month and a half ago, I did a video with a guy named Jesse. We went out to Imagen Systems in San Francisco, and that was the place that had actually taken the Atari Jaguar and turned it into dental equipment. I did an interview with Steve. He was the guy responsible for that. Pretty cool video, I think, and a very cool story. So at the end of the video, Jesse actually gave me one of the dental shells, the replacement dental Jaguar shells. And he forgot to give me the buttons for it. So he actually came up to PRGE, we ran into each other, and he actually brought me a set of the buttons. So here they are. This is literally just a power button for the thing. I mean, I don't have a motherboard for it or anything like that. This is just to help kind of complete the shell. But still, there it is, and I thought that was really neat. So thank you to Jesse for making that step, making the extra effort of finding these and bringing them up on your way up. So thank you. A couple other items. At PRGE, there was all these cards for various consoles. The idea was to run around and collect all the cards. The only one I ended up with was the Dreamcast one, by pure coincidence. Yes, it's my favorite console of all time, no dispute, but I wasn't actively collecting these things. I was just walking around, and then this one just showed up like in front of me at a random desk. So I just grabbed it, but I didn't end up looking for any of the others. So yeah, just cool to have. And it just got, on the front, it just got a picture of the Dreamcast, and on the back, it just has some information and a picture of the Hazuki Tiger from Shenmue. So yeah, very neat. Next up, I got a trial disc for FX Unit Yuki, the Henshin engine. Actually, Sarumaru, which is a longtime viewer of the channel, just walked up to me, introduced himself, and handed this to me. And this game is coming out for the PC Engine, the TurboGrafx 16, as well as their CD variants. There's also going to be a Dreamcast version, which I actually backed on Kickstarter quite some time ago. So this was cool of him to give me. I told him, like, I don't even have a way to play this because I don't have the disc version of those consoles, but he still said, just take it. So that was nice of him to do. So thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to getting the Dreamcast version of this. So that's it for stuff I got in that realm. Now we're going to talk about a couple of weirder items. First and foremost, what I want to talk about is this. This has got to be the strangest item. This was annoying to bring back. This is, it looks like a Laserdisc, or it looks like a record, because it's kind of a, well, it's more of a Laserdisc. So this is not actually a Laserdisc. In fact, until I went to the Portland Retro Game Expo, I had no idea that Laserdisc was still so popular. There were so many people buying and selling Laserdisc. I always thought it was a fun format, but it was never mine. You know what I mean? But the only Laserdisc player I have is called the Pioneer Laser Active. And the only reason I have it is because technically it's a video game console. I bought it years ago. I even did a video on it just a couple of years ago. The short version of that is Pioneer got together with both Sega and NEC, and they wanted to make this, basically a Laserdisc player that was a game console. And you could take out these like little packs that it had. You could replace it with a karaoke pack, so it played karaoke stuff. You could replace it with a Sega pack that would allow it to play Sega Genesis and Sega CD games. And you could replace it with the NEC pack, which would then play TurboGrafx 16 and TurboGrafx CD games. Or if you had the Japanese versions, you'd have the Japanese variants, the PC Engine and the Mega Drive, etc. Sega took this project a little more seriously than NEC did, because they decided that together, in conjunction with Pioneer, they were going to make some games, or at least work together to make some games that would be compatible. Basically, they were Sega CD games, but they used the additional benefits of a Laserdisc player. So in this case, you have one by Taito called Rocket Coaster. It's basically just a Sega CD game, but uses the Laserdisc capabilities to make a bigger, more movie-like experience for the game, to have more of a rolling image background with a character sprite in front of it. Now, I've only ever had one game for this console. I had Pyramid Patrol, which I still have, and the reason for that is it came with the console. These games are ridiculously expensive, like multi-hundreds of dollars, so I never expected to get another one. In this case, much to my surprise, I found two different people selling Pioneer Laser Active games. This one was from a table where the guy was selling it just by itself along with a bunch of random items. And he only wanted $70 for it, which is a lot, but at the same time I compared it to what it's going for on eBay, and it wasn't bad at all. It was actually pretty good, especially considering the fact that after I bought it, that's when I found out and realized this thing is factory sealed still. And then of course I'm going through the dilemma of like, do I open it? Because I usually open everything, but this thing is kind of a special case because let's keep it real, I'm probably not really going to play this. It's probably better preserved the way it is. Maybe I will. We'll see if I change my mind. But for now, anyway, it's going to keep it like this. It's got its factory price tag on it. This thing was released on July 20th, 1996, and retailed at $59.87, which is a random price point. But still, there it was. And I thought that was just really, really cool. The other guy who was selling these wasn't really selling them. I ran into a dude who had a bunch of these like behind his desk. And he was cool enough to let me show you, like here, I got some video footage of it, whole host of different games that he had for this thing, but he was unwilling to sell them to me. Basically what he was saying was he had two of the consoles and he's like, look, I can't sell them because I would have to sell, I can't sell the consoles without them. And he was kind of right about that. So it was unfortunate because I would have been happy to pick up some more, depending on price point, of course, but he wouldn't even discuss that possibility, but he would let me film them. So I appreciated him letting me do that. So there you go. And I did end up with at least one, but from a different seller. So that's awesome to actually have a second game for this thing after like 15 years of owning it without ever picking up another game. So awesome. And now the last thing I got from the convention is very cool. This comes from Retro USB. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are already familiar with it. This is the Retro AVS. Now, what it actually is it's not an NES clone. That would be an unfair thing to call it, but that might be the easiest thing to understand it as. If you guys know me, you know I have a history of not liking clone consoles. I think they're shit most of the time. They're either emulator boxes like the Retron line. I don't like those. I don't like the older type of like Yobo clones that are basically just NOACs, Nintendo on a chip. I don't like any of that stuff. The AVS is a big time exception. There's every once in a while someone gets it right. The Atari Flashback 2 got it right, minus the cartridge port, which you could fix yourself. The Analog NT got it right, and the AVS got it right. This is, and to quote my buddy Gilly the Kid, who's another YouTuber who's big into the NES, he said it's an NES, except that it's not, which means in every conceivable way it is, although technically it isn't. It's a very solid device. I've only used it a little bit so far, but I'm really liking what I've experienced with it so far. And for those who don't know at all, It's an NES, but it's got HDMI out. It looks beautiful. It has this awesome menu at the beginning that allows you to change video settings and sound settings, to put Game Genie codes in, to keep track of scores, do controller configurations, all sorts of stuff. Native HDMI out. It's USB powered, and it actually uses the original buttons of an NES for power and reset. It actually looks a lot like an NES, like a modernized version. It plays the American, the European, and Japanese Famicom games right there. This is the revision 2 where the HDMI port was a little bit more secured and the door is more improved. The guys over at Retro USB were cool enough to just give me this AVS unit just straight up as a review unit. That's why I don't have the box or the cables or anything, but they didn't need to do that. I really just needed the console. So I can't thank them enough for that. Keep an eye out. I will definitely be doing a video of this thing. I'm very excited about it. It also supports Famicom stuff. Like I said, not only the games, but there's actually a spare controller port there in case the random Famicom accessories that exist. But yeah, you know, it works with the Famicom disk system and all that. So, and it has 4 controller ports, of course, the 2 primaries plus extra controllers for the few games that actually supported that. You wouldn't need one of those like 4 controller splitter things. So yeah, very, very cool. Very much like the design. But again, we'll be talking more about this later, but a huge shout out to the guys over at Retro USB for hooking me up with that. Now it's package time. As you can see, we got quite a few things over here. Now we got some oddities. The first I have to say before we open any of these is the obvious. You don't have to send me stuff. Nobody ever has to send me stuff. It's not a thing I request of anybody. It's not a thing that is needed for the channel. I never say like, hey guys, you know, if you don't send me stuff, I can't make videos. Like nothing. There's no obligation to send me anything. Still, people want to do it, and I appreciate that. But you know, seriously, you don't have to send me things. I'm serious, you really don't have to. I appreciate it, but you really don't have to. Let's just make that very clear. That said, packages. So the first one is from my buddy Fox. Now he actually does have to send me stuff because he's my friend, so therefore I make him send me stuff. No, I'm just kidding. But he was very cool to send this to me. This is something I actually sent him out on a specific mission for him. He lives in South Korea, and so he's always like, hey man, if you ever need anything from South Korea, and I couldn't really think of anything, but this I could, and he was cool enough to do it. So let's go ahead and open the package and take a look at it. This box cutter, man, is making life so much easier. I wish you guys had told me years ago to get a box cutter. It's just, you know, it's just years of nobody ever saying anything about it. It's just so strange. But anyway, I'm obviously being incredibly sarcastic. All right, lifting it up. Inside, we got a couple of things. We have a note, it looks like, from him. Let me make sure I read it here. He's like, hi Adam, it is I, Fox, enclosed here within the box. I am just sending the specific game, I don't want to say it yet, and an extra one for your amusement. I'm always happy to be on the hunt with you or on your behalf. If you have any high value targets, you know where to reach me. Take it easy, Fox. Fox and I hang out a lot in Japan, and he and I have gone shopping over there a bunch of times, including a bunch of those hard offs and book offs. He was the dude that he and I like climbed a fucking mountain to get to this one hard off that had all sorts of amazing shit in it. So the dude's awesome. Well, here's the surprise game that he threw at me. I wasn't expecting this. This is Fatal Fury Special for the PC Engine. That's cool, man. I wasn't expecting that at all. Yeah, he never even mentioned this, as he points out there. Arcade Card Duo. Yeah, I don't know enough about this, but yeah, that's awesome. It's a CD-ROM game, so it's a PC Engine CD version of Fatal Fury Special. Okay, well, I guess now I kind of really have to get one, don't I? Thank you, Fox, for doing that. Then it comes in this little bag. He also threw in a couple of random, like, limited run redeemables. I know he gets some of the limited run stuff because he likes their Switch releases. But anyway, we have a PS4 bag with, what's that, Tokidori, the drum thing, I forget what it's called. But anyway, inside it has something very special. It has the Korean version of Shenmue 1 and 2 for PS4. Yeah, the Korean variant. So it says Shenmue up there in Korean. All the back is in Korean. And then it has the Korean rating system. To my fellow Shenmue fans, mark my words, this will be one of the more chase figure variants because not too many people ever pick up the Korean variants of stuff. And he even said he had kind of a hard time finding this, but he obviously did manage to pull it off. So thank you very much. I will add that, of course, over here to the Chinese version, or specifically Hong Kong version, as well as the Australian versions. Oh shit, son, I got Shenmue for days. Thank you very much, Fox, for doing that. And of course the bonus that was totally unexpected. Awesome, thank you. Now, next package, actually the next 2 packages are kind of in the same vein. Both of these people wanted to be anonymous. which is people's choice if that's what they want. This one in particular, this first one was not sent to me by a specific individual. A specific individual bought this and just had it shipped to me directly from the company that releases it. So that was nice of them to do. Again, thank you to said individual who wishes to remain anonymous. This is from, I mean, not the person who sent it to me, but the company that they bought it from is called Wasabi Sheet Music, which may not sound like anything that would be up my alley, but this is kind of a unique case. So let's open it up and see how it turned out. Opening here, moving the box. Well, it doesn't look like much at first, so we have to get past the packaging. Inside, we have a little booklet, if I can get to it without damaging it, which is always a plus. This is well packaged. Inside, we have like just a receipt basically for it that says what it is in English, but this is the Shenmue Piano Collection. This is a sheet music book of some of the main scores of the Shenmue, collection. And if you are so inclined, if you're musically talented, which I am not, you could then play these songs. There's 8 songs in particular: The Sadness I Carry on My Shoulders, Sedge Tree, The Place Where the Sun Sets, Snow Scenery, Sedge Flower, Sadness and Hope, Nozomi's Confession, and Wish. Which is very cool of them to, again, to the person who supported this, thank you very much for doing that. That's really cool. I guess this makes me wish I actually knew how to play music, but yeah, guys, there you go. For Shenmue fans, very, very awesome. So again, thank you so much. That's just so cool. On to the next one though. Also, another person who wished to remain anonymous. This is, from my recollection, is a game that they were very passionate about and that they wanted me to share with you guys. So let's okay, that'll work. And inside, well, this is where the box cutter is helpful again. Box cutters are so damn helpful, you guys. Although I know I got some comments from people being like, yo man, I kind of missed the threat of you like cutting yourself, even though I never did, but the threat of that possibility. Sorry. Although maybe I could still do it kind of like rambunctiously, and then maybe it'll happen. A lot of bubble wrap. But we're getting there. It's good to see the game is so well packaged. This is a PS4 game, and it includes a note. Thanks for giving the game the spotlight. The best way to describe it is Binding of Isaac, if Binding of Isaac met Serious Sam. It's full of genuine charm, and it's out on Steam, PS4, Xbox One, and more recently, Switch. Just a great game I think more people should know about. Thanks again, Wii Components Cable Guy. That's how he wanted to refer to himself as. The reason he says that is I met him at a convention a couple of years ago. I think it was Too Many Games, and he brought up a set of Wii component cables he wanted me to sign. So that's why he refers to himself as that. The game is called Immortal Redneck. This is a strictly limited run game. This is release number 6, copy number 565 for the PS4. But he says it's amazing. He also said there was a score that came with it originally. He kept that, but gave me the game itself. So very cool. Yeah, thank you so much for doing that. You obviously didn't have to, Wii Component Cable Guy. But still, that was awesome if you do. So I'm looking forward to checking this out, especially because you speak so highly of it. I always respect when someone is like that passionate about something, let's keep it real, relatively obscure. That's how, being a Shenmue fan felt for years. So trust me when I say I understand. So thank you very much for hooking me up with Immortal Redneck. Moving on, we got 2 more packages here. Now this one is going to be very, very unique, I think. I've been sent a lot of stuff over the years, again, which you don't have to do. But this might be unique as far as story goes. This comes from a guy named Klaus. I'm just gonna open it up, and I think you guys need to see it before we do anything else with it. So in advance, thank you very much, Klaus. Let's see if I can, I wanna make sure I don't damage this, because I know it's a special item to be sure, and I hope he packaged it in a way where it definitely won't get damaged by doing the box cutter move here. Okay, we can do this. We can do this, guys. Go team. Dude, you packaged this too well. You're defeating the box cutter. Okay, all right, we're almost there, we're almost there. Okay. Well, I cut his note, but that's okay. If the note's the only thing that got cut, that's fine. All right, the first thing on top is the note, which, hey, I did totally cut the note. He says, "Hi Adam, sorry for the delay. There were problems during production of this item and therefore it got postponed." Yeah, he contacted me, I wanna say like last year about this. It's been a while. I also added some European exclusives for the PS2 and the Mega Drive game from a German license that was released in the UK and Italy too. More on that later. Your audience can guess what it is. Anyway, have fun with this stuff. Cheers, Klaus. So let's take a look. Like I said, this is a very unique story, but let's take the games out first before we get to the main piece here. Okay, this is the main piece down at the bottom, and I want to kind of mask it a little. But you know what? Let's get the games done first. Let's just point that stuff out. I think that we should go with that first. Then I'll tell the story about the other part. From the game's perspective, inside this bag, this is like feels like a scavenger hunt or Easter or something. This is really weird. It's like everything's open and inside there's like a little note. This is, well, he says right here, this is a game called The Ottophants. It's based on a sketch by a cult German comedian, Otto Walkes, that later got its own TV series in 1993 and is a featured animated movie called Commando Straubecker, sorry about my pronunciation, in 2001. A cute but sometimes hard platformer stumbled on this game in the mid-2000s in the UK and was baffled that this short-lived cartoon series was actually distributed there too. A really odd release in the Mega Drive library. Enjoy. So that's cool of him. He included a cool-ass Mega Drive exclusive. Hopefully it's one of the earlier ones with the, you know, like the grid type of style. So hopefully it's region-free, because that would be cool to be able to use this on a Genesis. I will find that out for sure. But either way, it's in unbelievably good condition. So thank you very much for that. The next batch here, let's take a look. It's in a bag from Saturn, which is funny. Saturn is like European Best Buy. Couple of, he says he's got a few exclusives here for PS2, which is funny, like Masters of the Universe. This is Dirt Track Devils, which appears based on its rating. No, it's by Midas again. I told you, it's always Midas or Phoenix or someone like that. Raceway, Drag, and Stock Racing, also by Midas. And Skyscraper, also by Midas. Very cool. Then we have another one full of games here. Opening the bag. We've got Turbo Trucks by Phoenix, as mentioned before. Downhill Slalom, okay, by Phoenix. Air Raid 3 by Phoenix, and Roller Coaster Funfair by Phoenix. I told you, they're always done by either Phoenix, Midas, or Blast. I'm a little surprised there's nothing by Blast in there, but I'm not complaining either because Blast didn't make any good stuff. Still, it's a bunch of PS2 European exclusives. Funny enough, I didn't have any of these, so that's really cool. Thank you very much to Klaus for that, and thank you, of course, for the Genesis game. But let's get on to the point here of what he actually sent, what the reason was. Now, he contacted me quite some time ago. In fact, I'm going to, let me read his note. Maybe that would be better. Okay, you know what? I'm going to explain this in advance, I think. He contacts me quite some time ago and says, hey, I'm a musician and I'm working on this album, and I would very much like to have a reference to you in it, like a sound clip of mine. I'm not 100% sure exactly what he did, but I think it's a sound clip of me saying something that he ends up using in one of his songs, and he wanted to be able to not only do it, but to credit me and to be able to send me a sample, which is exactly what he did. So here it is, eventually, finally. It's awesome. I'm so excited to be here. It says, as promised, here is your copy of our compilation, including the track The Power of Sweat on side B1. Thanks again for your permission to use your voice on the track. A download coupon for the digital backup is also included. Would be cool if you mention and place the links for our music in the description of your Playload episode, which I absolutely will do. Fortunea 10 is limited to 300 copies and there will be no repress. Have a nice day, Klaus. So what he did was he took that album and he actually put it in wax, figuratively. This is a vinyl record of their album. And again, I'm in his song, The Power of Sweat. I am in that song, apparently, some audio of me. So I'm on a vinyl record. Couldn't say I ever expected that, but that's really cool. But yeah, I'll totally put a link in the description so you guys can check it out if you want to. I'm definitely gonna listen to this afterwards. Very neat. He says there's only 300 copies of this produced. I have number 15 of the 300. Taking a look at the record itself, it's actually, oh, it's 2 records, and they're black. Yeah, they're both black. 2 records that are, yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to listen. Oh, there's a Dreamcast Spiral looking thing on that one. I'll bet you that's the one I'm probably on. That would make sense, huh? Oh no, they both have that. Never mind. So no, and they're actually snakes. Okay, that shows where my headset is, or my mindset is, or my head is, that I just assumed they were Dreamcast logos. But still, that's really cool. Thank you so much to Klaus for that. I'm very much looking for, I'll put this away properly in a minute, but thank you very much for doing that. Obviously, that's just cool. But yeah, take a look in the description, and you can get some more information on these if you guys want to check it out. That would be really cool of you guys. And the next thing, and the last thing up in this video, and also again, thank you for the games, is this package. Now this comes from the Bahar Bros. Now I've mentioned them many times over the years. They've made all sorts of great Dreamcast peripherals, in particular HDMI boxes like the Akura or the Gecko, or VGA boxes like the Toro or the Hanzo. A couple other random devices along the way, and I know they're working on some other stuff. This one is not Dreamcast related, but they still made it, and they sent me a unit. So I wanted to show you guys, and they said that this one was more custom designed for me. So I'm very curious, because obviously I haven't seen it yet, so I'm very curious to see how it turned out. But let's open it and take a look, shall we? Okay, inside, a whole bunch of styrofoam. Okay, take the styrofoam lid off. Ooh, that is nice. Wow. So what they decided to start working on was arcade controllers for consoles. And they said this one was specifically designed for me. And the second I open it, I can see that that's the case. Wow. Let me get it out of this wrapping. This one is, oh man, it's Shenmue themed. Very cool. Yeah, they specifically did this artwork and mounted it this way for me. I'll put a link in the description to their website where I think you could probably order stuff like this from them. But yeah, they just sent this to me, and you can put this little ball here and screw that on, and then you have yourself an arcade controller. My understanding is this current version of the controller is compatible with modern consoles because it's USB based, so it comes with a USB cable as well. At least in this case it did. And it's compatible, I believe, with Xbox One, PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, Switch, probably Wii U. I know that there is a board inside that you can remove and swap out, that they're going to update so that it's compatible with more retro stuff. Ironically, this does not actually work on a Dreamcast yet, but that kind of stuff could be coming. So I'm very excited to check this out. The love of this, man, look at that shit. Like they made that one for me. That's fucking awesome. You don't have to do that, but they did it anyway. You guys are the fucking best. Like, Klaus makes this record, the Bahar Bros make this. You know, it's fucking cool. You guys are so awesome. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. I'm really excited about this. I'm really looking forward to checking this out. I'll put a link to the description about this as well. So if you guys want to check it out, maybe order yours or anything like that, definitely do it. But yeah, this thing seems really cool. This will be really good for, you know, like fighting games or anything that we just need like more, you know, muscle. I think fighting games is probably more prominently what this would be good for. But yeah, the fact that it's there and it's got some red buttons there, which I assume are like triggers or whatever. But yeah, oh man, that's really something. Thank you so much to the Bahar Bros. And thank you guys so much for watching this. I want to thank, of course, again, the Bahar Bros. I want to thank Klaus. I want to thank Wii Component Cable Guy, other totally anonymous person, my buddy Fox, Castlemania Games, Kyle, John Riggs, as well as Josh Prod, Retro USB. Thank you guys, everybody. Of course, all the people at Portland Retro Game Expo. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all later.